Good morning signature. Oh, I love it. We all got up early today, huh? So we've got a big day ahead of us today in sales meeting. We're going to talk a little bit about branding and why the change of the new logo. How many of you seen the new logo? Right here? That's it? Yeah? You've all seen it now, right? How many of you noticed the other logos coming off the walls over the past few weeks? Some of us didn't even have an idea, but so they were changing. So there's going to be one up here. You're going to start over today and tomorrow, I believe. You'll start seeing the new logos go up in the offices. So we did some work in the fountain areas of the Green Valley office, so it'll pop out there a little bit better. We put some nice wooding in the Montecito office for the signs. It'll look real good. Here we didn't have to do a lot because we got that beautiful sign above the desk that isn't the old logo, so that's good. But we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about next steps, and then we're also going to talk about the buyer-broker agreement that we just released this last week, and why it's one page, which is pretty awesome. How many people are excited about one page over 10? Yeah, right? So we believe it needs to be simple, and it needs to be easy to explain, and we shouldn't be, most of our buyers' presentations shouldn't be trying to explain this document. So we'll go over that and answer any questions you guys have on the settlement and where we are today. But before we get started, let's start off with some buyer and seller needs. Anybody?
I need a buyer for my northwest home. It's 3,169 square feet, 725. Has true RV parking with hookups. So please, please, please bring me a buyer quickly. Oh, 5,000 Durrell Lane.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so we have a new listing in Pahrump. 3 bedrooms. It's a custom home still. So if you have anybody that's looking in Pahrump, it's 349. We have actually 3 condos going on in Mesquite at 208 each. So that's also a really good area for a lot of people that are moving to that area, especially people that are coming from out of state. And then we have the 80 acres in Pahrump. And we did just put another listing on. It's a mobile home, manufactured home, and it's $165,000. So I know a lot of you guys are looking for that too. So let me know. It has been converted. So if you wanted a real property, we do have that too.
What's on the 80 acres?
80 acres has water rights.
Water rights?
Correct. No, it's water rights. You're correct. The right to drill a well. In other words, nothing. Yes.
Anybody else?
All right. I have a single story, 3-bed, 2-bath, 2-car garage. This is coming soon. It'll be active on Monday. Everything's been fully renovated from the kitchen to the bathrooms. It has paid off solar panels. It's located off Blue Hill Avenue, 89156. The asking price is $365 on that one. I have a current active right now, a 5-bedroom, 3-car garage. Near Rainbow and Blue Diamond. It has ceramic tile flooring through the kitchen and the dining room area. And it's over 4,000 square feet, and the asking price is $865.
There's no HOA on that one, right?
No HOA on either one.
Okay, anybody else? Get you next.
Okay, I've got one coming up soon. 2-story, 1,676 square feet up in Providence. Beautiful, mint clean, beautiful home. Be about $415.
I've got one down off Boulder Highway, which is going to be newly remodeled. Down off right next to Sam Boyd. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, 1,840 square feet. It's going to be $405,000. Super clean little house. It's got 2 1-car garages, like separate. So it's a nice little house. I sold to him 3 years ago. It's a divorce sale. So bring me buyers.
Very good. Anybody else? Going, gone. All right, so next up, we have the fabulous Miss Janet with Janet's Stuff. There you go, Janet.
Thank you. Okay, so biggest thing we have going on is Thursday and Friday, July 25th and 26th, from 8:30 to 5, we'll be having the 2-day NAR ABR designation class at Signature. Now, this is the way it works. We have to have a minimum of 50 people, period, end of story, or we can't put on the class. NAR says no. So obviously we can't quite fit 50 people in here, so if you're the first to sign up, you get to come have it here. And or if this classroom is full, we will have it in the Northwest office, and we also will be having it in Green Valley. You must RSVP. So please RSVP, because if we don't have 50, we're going to have to cancel. And not only that, it's 12 hours of CE, agency. You all need 12 hours. You don't need 12 hours of agency, but you can count 9 of them as general. So there you go. Also, the other thing you need to know is that coming up is Friday, August the 2nd, will be the general membership meeting at Durango Station. Last general membership meeting, it filled up well before the deadline. So if you're interested in going, make your reservations online, call LVR, whatever. The next thing is Friday, August 23rd, the Tech Forum at the Orleans. This is an annual thing that the MLS has done for years. There are a lot of breakout sessions. There's breakfast. There's a guest speaker, 2 wonderful out-of-state guest speakers that are coming. There are breakout sessions, so if you need a brush up on whatever, there will be a breakout session for it throughout the day. 2 o'clock, there will be an ice cream social, and lots of fabulous door prizes, including a huge screen TV, earbuds, iPads, all kinds of electronic stuff, and it's $40. That covers your chance for a door prize, your breakfast, your lunch, and your ice cream social, and a lot of education. And that's all I have. Thank you.
You guys, the ABR class, it's a tremendous opportunity that we got it to be taught at Signature. It's going to be Keith Kelly that's actually teaching it. And we can have them for less, but then they got to charge for them. So NAR is picking up the cost, a 2-day class, so it's free CE plus the designation of the ABR, the Accredited Buyer's Representative. I went through it this past past few months ago, along with Tom. We did it via Zoom in our office, one-on-one with the computer. And I'm going to tell you, I got a lot out of it, but you can get a lot of distractions by not being present in the class. So if you can register and you can be one of the ones in the room to be able to ask questions and be part of it, I promise you'll get more out of it. You'll also get more out of it by going to the offices and watching them in a group, because you're not going to get distracted and start doing work somewhere else. You'll want to pay attention. This is stuff that will help you in the business and the changing of our industry. That designation's been around for a long time. NAR's been pushing the buyer representative and how to do it. They'll talk about your buyer's presentation along with a lot of different forms and marketing materials and stuff like that to differentiate you from everybody else. Even if you don't get the designation, you don't go that extra step, which is free the first year anyway, you're still going to get a ton out of it. So I, again, highly recommend it. So there she is. All right. We're going to bring Shelly Panzarella up with Prosperity Lending. Mortgage Moment.
Morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Wow, got to get the energy flowing so you guys will remember exactly what I got to say. How many of you have clients that actually are asking you what the rates are going to look like or what the industry is going to look like once the elections come? Before and or after? How many of you love a demonstration to show, without showing what color won, red or blue, what happened with regards to interest rates in each of the elections in the last 11 elections? You like that? If you do want this information, go ahead and hit me up on the app and I'll be able to send this over to you. But check this out, Beta, if you'll scroll up just a little bit. So 8 of the last 11 elections, interest rates actually went down. That's not my opinion on who won the election, but it is that the interest rates went down. The one time with the 2% increase was 1980. How many of you remember what happened in 1980? Yes, Tom, you were alive then. You got your license then? Wow, it's a long time ago. long time ago. I think I was 6 then. So Ronald Reagan won the election over Jimmy Carter. We were in the height of, we had high inflation, right? And we were also in a recession. Jason pointed out that we also had the embargo with Russia, much like things that we'd already had last year, right? Which is the reason why we had to raise interest rates and inflation went down. Interest rates went down because inflation was up, right? Take a look at the next slide. Beta, if you'll click to the next slide for me. What happened to sales prices in the last 8 elections? All of them went up except for one election, which was 2008. Can you pull that up just a little bit, Beta? Or down, yeah, there you go. 2008. How many remember what happened in 2008? Yeah, a little bit of they call it the bubble housing crisis. So I had a client actually yesterday tell me, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wait till after the elections because I believe interest rates are going to go down, which according to that last slide, he probably is right? What do you think is going to happen when the interest rates drop? Right? Prices are going to go up. If you look at this exact scenario based on prices going up $50,000 and interest rates going down 0.5%, that's actually a payment increase of $150. What's going to happen to the market, though, when this happens? Everybody else is going to be, who's been waiting on the sideline, is going to be waiting to come in to the market. And then we're going to run into that multiple offer situation. And so maybe it's not $50,000 of a sales increase. Maybe it's more, even if the rates go down a little bit. But I wanted to share this with you because this is something that I shared to our client to let them know, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I do believe that rates are going to go down as well. Doesn't matter who's in the seat at the House, at the White House, right? It doesn't matter. This does not say red or blue at all. This just says up or down. That's an non-opinionated perspective here for you. The other thing that we offer at Prosperity Lending is a free, no lender cost refinance. Ultimately, it's basically your escrow and title fees, which a lot of our Ticor Title, I know they have a reduced fee for rate for refinances. And so know that you can sell that as well for your clients. Listen, if you close this loan today, even though the rates are at the 7%, if rates go down in the next 6 months or longer, Prosperity Lending will refinance the loan for free. They won't charge you any of their lender fees. Great way to get them in there. But I hope that this is going to be helpful for you guys. If you want a copy of this, please hit me up in the app and I'll be able to send that over to you. We're going to work on a co-branded slide or co-branded flyer as well. Was this helpful for you guys? Any questions at all for me? All right. Have a great week.
Awesome. Thank you, Shelly. Great information as always. I'm going to bring up my slides there, Beta, branding. All right. So why did we change the logo? You know why? How many of you really like the old logo better than this one? How many like the new logo better? How many of you don't really care? Yeah, right? So there's some reasons behind it, and I'll go through it. But part of the big reason we changed that is through feedback. As we're bringing on agents, newer agents, a lot in our Salt Lake office, they hated the logo. Why do you think they hated the logo? Well, every logo that has to do with Signature across the country, I don't care if you look at Signature Select Groceries or Signature Airlines or whatever, it's all in cursive, right? And we went through a process a while back about changing our logo before. I tried to have it redesigned back in 2017, but we couldn't come up with anything different or unique. And part of the big reason is that damn G. If you've ever tried to do anything with that G that we had, it really threw everything off. It made it look like it was out of balance and stuff like that. So when you try to pair that with your team logo or your personal brand, right, because I think it's important you have personal branding too, it's a good idea to tie it to a company, right, but your personal brand is important too. And so it was making it so it was very hard to do that. And in Utah, these guys were coming on, younger, just getting their license, coming from different industries and out of school and stuff like that. They can read cursive, and they're actually very, very sharp up there. No, I'll tell you exactly what happened. Is they got the nerve up to tell me they hated the logo, right? Which would take a lot because we started this company in 2013, and there's a lot of history behind that logo. And as we've gone through, so you'd think it's kind of an emotional thing or a big thing to make a change. And I'll show you over time, companies make changes to their logo all the time. Right, but so they did that, and the broker up there said they don't like it. They would like to change it. And my initial reaction was, what the? I love that logo. Why would you do that, right? But I went up there and I sat down with a group of their agents and listened to them and that kind of stuff. And then I said, okay, we went down this path before, and I couldn't find anything I liked. And so if you guys come up with some samples or some ideas that you have, maybe we can figure something out. Now, what I was thinking is this will send them on a wild goose chase. They'll be able to go do their thing. They'll figure out it's not as easy as they thought it was, and we won't find anything we like better. But lo and behold, they came through, and as we were scrolling through, one caught my eye. This one. Okay, so I didn't even design it. I was like, holy crap, that one. But I didn't say that to them at the point. And so then I just asked them, what do you guys think? Which one's your favorite? And all of them pointed to this one. Okay? And so I started going, okay, what would it be like to change that logo? Well, we could do it in Salt Lake. We'll just do it in Salt Lake. That's fine. We'll appease them. We don't have to change it in Vegas. And as we went through that process, I put this on my screensaver of my computer, and I started putting it, and I'm looking at it every day. And it's starting to really grow on me. And there's some things I really like this submark, the A. Now instead of messing with the G, we're messing with the A. But this could be used independent, right? So we can now have a mark to put on shirts, hats, all kinds of other stuff, similar to, not competing with or at that caliber of the Nike swoosh, or the Apple, right? And so now you have something else that you can brand and do different things with and have fun with as well. Like, look, it's here. You see? And so we can start to do things like that with our business cards and stuff like that. And it also allows us, I think this simple modern font and layout allows you to really co-brand with your logos a lot better as well. Harvey? Yeah, branding for Brandon. No, that's just kind of what we're going to talk about. But Beta, will you change the slide? You can blame Utah, but hopefully at the end of this you'll like it. And I think it's something that we can get behind. Because as we were looking at it in Utah and saying, hey, I can do it up there, and it started to grow on me, I'm also looking at what's happening in the industry, and I'm always analyzing the business and stuff like that. And part of the fun thing about creating a company or any business, when you got in real estate and everything else, is building that up. Right? Then you get to a certain point, we're 11 years in now, you almost just get comfortable in what you're doing, right? And so sometimes it's a good thing to stir things up a little bit and look at it. And one of the things that I've noticed that's gone down, I'd say in the past, well, it's been going down for a while, but especially since COVID, right? I think COVID started it, was customer service. Like, I see you guys out there, yeah. I mean, you go places, it's just like, whatever. I mean, I can spend my money anywhere. Nothing says I have to spend it here or there. And so when I started thinking about it, I thought this would be a great point to draw a line in the sand and basically say, let's recommit to customer service. Let's recommit to the brand and making something great. So when you think of Apple, Tesla, and Harley-Davidson, what do you think of? But they're quality brands, right? It's the brand. I don't even have their logos up here, but you know what their logos look like. You know what you're going to expect when you get an Apple computer or an iPhone. Some of us don't. We haven't stepped into the modern era yet, but it's just a joke. But you kind of know what you're going to get, right? One way or the other. Okay, Beta? So your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. And this was put out, this is a quote from Jeff Bezos, small CEO of a little company called Amazon, right? And so, next slide, Beta. So what do you think when you think of signature? What do other people think? Our consumers or even our competitors, what are they saying about us? Nothing bad, but nothing great, right? You can just be a real estate company just like everyone else. I mean, we can sit there and do that. You can just be an agent just like everyone else, or you can choose to be different and work on your brand and really stand out, right? And so this got me to really thinking too, Beta. So what is a brand? Anybody? Arlene? Immediate recognition of a product or service. That sums it up pretty much. Beta, change it. Okay, I'll tell you what a brand is not just, right? Because it's a combination of things. It's not just your logo. It's not just a color palette, a product you sell, your slogan, your mission, your signage. It's a combination of all of this stuff, right? A logo is an intricate part of your brand because it helps identify you, and it brings back, go ahead and switch, Beta. A brand is an emotional and experiential qualities that fuels perception and ideas that others share an experience about a company. And so every time somebody buys or sells a home through us, they go through an experience, right? Some good, some bad. But it's what do we do after the fact? How do we take care of our clients? How do we go through that? In addition to, how do you feel when you walk into the office? How do you feel when you deal with the staff? How do you feel when you have a question, you get it answered by the broker, or you don't get it answered by a broker, right? How do you feel when you call a company and you get the voicemail? Right? And so we had a staff meeting. We got all the staff together, and we spent a half day on this. And we're in the process right now of analyzing every system and process that we have, from how people are greeted at the door to the way the phone is answered, right? Because I can tell you, if you've ever called our office and you've listened to the voicemail or got into the calling tree, it sucks. Horribly, right? So I want to make sure that every detail is taken care of, because it's important that everybody has that experience. See, you guys are out there working hard on your brand. We can't fall down on the company side when somebody deals with us here. Okay? The other thing is we're building our brand. You can't fall down on everything that we're doing, or anyone else in this room is doing, or anyone online, or anyone in this company is doing, because everyone's working hard, putting money in blood, sweat, and tears on building a business. And so it's important that we all of us, take pride in the brand, okay? And your brand as a team, an individual, the company, all of it matters, okay? So what's a logo? It's a visual mark showcasing the character and the essence of the brand. A memorable logo is an essential component of a powerful brand and serves as a visual shortcut to the company within the competitive market. See, we need to stand out. Like, I don't know about you, but when somebody's thinking of buying and selling a house and they're interviewing agents, I want them to call a signature agent. Like, I've got to talk to Signature because I see their signs. I get good feedback from them. I see all the positive about this company. I'm drawn to them. I think we can use this logo as a reset to really create that. Right? So that we are the company that is thought about when you buy and sell in Nevada. We are the company that agents think about when they are transferring from another company or they're getting their license. Nothing pains me more than when somebody leaves a company, interviews multiple companies, and we're not one of them. Okay? It doesn't bother me when they just interview us, but the other way around. See, to me, I'm going, why? Why is it? What are we not doing? Right? And the other thing it gets me too is when an agent changes companies from here, and it's okay, everyone goes where they're supposed to go, but when they leave for reasons of things that we already provide, we're falling down on our end of making sure that the experience of the brand is fully transferred to you, right? And so go ahead and switch that. A well-designed logo allows people to quickly identify and recall your brand. Go ahead and Beta. Your logo creates consistency over different communication channels. So that's where you come in with your color palette, your branding, and all that stuff. And that's why we have brand guidelines, right, or logo guidelines, is so that we can get some consistency across the board. And I know all of you think you're very creative on your signs, and everyone wants to do these things because your signs are so much better. Some of them are, but some of them aren't, right? And some of your marketing material isn't that great, and some of it's really fantastic. And so I would like you to get in the habit of running it by me or somebody on leadership to make sure that we're hitting that brand standard, especially as we're transitioning out. It's going to be very important as we roll this out to have the consistency. Okay, the consistency stuff. So we are designing business cards, we are designing signs, and all that stuff. And so we'd like it if you'd use those, but if they're not something that rings to you, if you want something different, let's work together to create it. Okay, and be open to feedback both ways to make sure that we get something that we can all live with and then you're super happy with, okay? Your logo fosters a professional image and raises expectations, right? Expectations for all of us. Beta? Your logo distinguishes your brand from the competition. We want to stand out, okay? Go ahead and change it. All right, so let's look at some of the companies that have actually changed their logo or made adjustments, right? And some of us may not even realize the adjustment happened. I mean, this is Best Buy before and after. Pepsi, GoDaddy, Airbnb, Dunkin' Donuts, Domino's, Nike. Look at that. They've changed multiple times over the years. In fact, when they first started, they were Blue Ribbon Sports. They actually changed their name. And so as we go through this, you see that it's not uncommon that things change. And so I told you we went through a brand change back in 2017. Can you see the difference? What's the difference? Yeah, what's the difference? We dropped the group below and we put a line between it different than that. Everything else is the same. That, we spent months and months working on this. We were trying to come up with the mark, too, to go with it. The only thing that they could come up with is damn calligraphy pen. Like, what does that have to do with real estate, right? So we couldn't tie anything to it. I think the name's genius, Signature Real Estate, but the logo just said signature, just like every other signature across the country, right? And so that's why we change it to more modern and into the era now. So you can see the difference in why we're making the change, okay? And then that submark is huge for us, you know? We've got some ball caps coming with the submark on them, tattoos, yeah. So we ordered stuff almost 6 weeks ago, and still hasn't come. I don't have a tattoo, not yet. but nonetheless, we're gonna have stuff, and we're looking at with vendors and stuff to set up stuff, so it's easy for you guys to order stuff as well. Okay, next slide. All right, so we do have our brand guidelines, real simple, okay, and you'll all get a copy of this. I don't expect you to memorize it now, but black is black. Pretty easy to find. White is white. And the gold, we have a number for it, right? And then that's the font, yeah. So one other important piece of business to get to, and I'm just loving that the logo's taking this much time because it means we don't have to talk so much on the other, right? All right, so you guys saw the buyer-broker agreement, right? So here's a copy. If you'll take one, pass them around, pass them back, in case you have any questions on them now. But come on up here, Chris. Chris is going to help with this discussion. First of all, Chris is very instrumental in it being in one page.
Yes.
We'll notice on this, the font is a little bit small, but that's in the attempt to keep it on one page. As we start to use this, there may be changes to it, and it may end up bumping to a second page. If it does, we will adjust that font. But one of the big criterias of the settlement was that it needs to be easy to understand. So this does not reference a whole bunch of other sections and stuff like that. It's very simple and clear on what is expected, what your duties are and what their duties are, and what your compensation is. It also has in bold at the bottom, it talks about that commissions are not set by law. Right? So it has all the components needed to satisfy the settlement. Yes. Okay. Where am I missing the I at? All right. So
Which is funny because right below we got the I and the other obligation. So we knew that was there.
There are a couple typos, but congratulations, you get a book from Steve Sims. It's even signed because you pointed out my only mistake I've ever made in my life. So there are some, and I appreciate everyone that sent that in, and that so we are aware of them. But not everyone that points it out now from it going out is going to get something free. But we will be changing that stuff. It has been submitted to SkySlope, which is our form software, so that it'll be fillable and editable. Now LVR is about to put out their buyer broker agreement. We are not going to accept it at this company. Okay? We won't. None of our brokers will sign it. So don't sit down and get those signed with your consumer. We have some concerns with that one, and until they correct those, we will be using this document only. Okay? Unless there's another option that comes out down the road that we're okay with as well. But the buyer agency agreement we will not be using. Now,
So I want to point out something on that real quick. And this is a big deal. This is why this one page is so important. Imagine a consumer just heard in the news about this major settlement that happened with real estate professionals. And they sit down with an agent who they've never met, and the agent slides across a 6-page document that's no big deal and puts it in front of them and says, here, sign this. I know as a consumer, I would freak out. And I would wonder, 6 pages, I'm not even seeing a house yet, and you want me to sign that. And that's why I believe this one page will make a major difference from us to our competition, because the only thing that this is supposed to do is force you and them to have a conversation about what's going to happen from this point forward. And if I can't tell you that in one page, you should be concerned. That's how I felt about it. Now, I do have to remind everybody, what's the first document a client signs? Duties owed. So you cannot present this document unless you've already presented the duties owed for them to sign. They need to be done together. So duties owed to sign, then this one page. So that means that you're just 2 pages away from your next buyer commission, right? What happens after this document? Sell them something, right? You want to make sure you go through the residential disclosure guide, right? Because that's another document that's presented. The one thing I find out, the residential disclosure guide provides every piece of information on every disclosure in our industry, and it's a booklet that you can hand out, and the only thing that you need is the receipt for it. Did you guys notice that at the end of the booklet is a receipt? And so why not have that in your presentation for your buyer? Because down the road, when the buyer says, well, you didn't tell me, wait a minute, I have the receipt for the booklet I gave you. Do you mean you didn't see it? You didn't read that book I gave you? It's a great book. But the whole point is, if you go through that process that way, it'll make it easy for you to have that presentation. And again, every one of our brokers almost has presented their buyer presentation. My 19 questions, Brandon's buyer presentation. Your buyer presentation was like one page almost on that of all the things you do. So he likes 1 pages when it's his presentation. But the whole point is that we made it simple and easy so that you wouldn't have the extra work that all the other agents in the marketplace are going to have. The other thing is, the only thing bold on there other than obligation is the bottom section that says, what? Everything in our business is negotiable. But does that mean I'm going to negotiate on it? If you ask me to lower my commission, my answer can be no, because this is what I charge. And so you have the right to defend your commission, but it tells the consumer they have the right to ask. And so are you guys ready for the conversation when they do? I can tell you your competition right now is freaking out because they can't afford for a buyer to say, what are you going to do for the money? And so the whole thing that we've been doing for the last 2 months, besides the logo, is preparing you guys for that fact. Be ready for the conversation and embrace it. Because if you have that answer, you're going to stand out against the other 17,000 that don't. Make sense?
Okay. Denise?
So if we had
Wait. Here. I can't hear you at home and look at that.
So if we had a previous one signed, that's okay to keep, and if it expires, do this new one, or do you want us to go back and have them re-sign a new one?
Okay, so we're not going to require them to re-sign a new one. We're looking at the possibility of having an addendum to your agreement that they'll sign. At this point, that's the direction we're kind of looking. We've got some time before the 17th when all this goes live. So we got a lot of active fluid stuff, including the listing agreement and the purchase agreement, which LVR just put out too. We're in the process of reviewing that, but so far, we're leaning towards using those. Okay, because I think those address things the proper way. So watch the next sales meetings as those things are going to come up as we discuss that and what's going to change on the listing side. But the big thing to understand is these are going into SkySlope. They will not be in transaction desk. Okay, so I would challenge all you to start using SkySlope. We just upgraded our system to now allow us to create broker templates. So now we can take an entire buyer template and put this agreement along with the duties owed, along with the residential disclosure guide and everything that you need signed in one place. So you don't have to go and create all that stuff. You can just add the template, okay? So our checklist will be all in one area for you. So that's going to be pretty cool and slick for you too. So you won't have the opportunity to accidentally grab the other buyer broker agreement or something like that.
So who here freaks out with technology? Anybody besides me? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Like the TC was so important to me, I married her, okay? So listen, with SkySlope, I went in myself and created a buyer template with my document. It took me literally 5 minutes. It was all a wizard. Like, I literally answered questions, put the things together. And now all I have to do is enter a client's name with their detailed information that I put in there. It spits out my document within a few minutes and already sets it up for signature. And I use them in every type of my business, my listings, my buyers, my property management. Everything is set right there together, and it sends it out, and I don't have to recreate the wheel. It's just like it used to be when you went into an office and they had a packet of paper that you could just grab and fill out with the client, right? Who remembers that? Those were the good old days, weren't they? But the whole point is it's that easy, and because it's in there and it's signed in there, you can then just open your file right there in that place, and it doesn't have to have all these extra steps. By the way, once this gets signed by the client, it has to be signed by the broker to be binding, right? So you've got to send it over to the broker to sign that in any of the office managers, and then you have to maintain it because we've now created a contractual relationship that you're now obligated to terms on it. And so we have to hold those and put those into the file system. So we
So this is how the plaintiff's lawyers are going to enforce the settlement nationwide. They're going to be looking for this kind of thing, and the MLS has an affirmative duty to do this. If you breach these kinds of things, the consequence could be the plaintiffs could say the entire settlement is thrown out for the entire National Association of Realtors. So this is very, very serious compliance stuff.
One question was just asked, which is a great question. This is now a contractual obligation for a term. And if you decide, like, let's say you get that buyer from hell that you're like, there's no way that this is going to work out, there is a cancellation document in Transaction Desk that we can use that cancels this document, but you have to go through that process. Just like if you were going to cancel a listing or withdraw a listing, you have to have paperwork signed. So that would be the same thing that you'd have to go through and execute that document, releasing them from this obligation.
So very spirited discussion. It's apparent to me we're going to have to do some more town halls. You guys need to be on those. We need to be having these discussions, answering your questions. This is the landscape of today, and this is what we're adapting to. This agreement will protect you by getting this signed prior to showing any homes. Prior to showing any homes, this agreement signed. It satisfies the settlement. Okay. Now, when we get to the negotiation part of the commissions, we'll work through that. We'll sit down with any one of you. We'll help you through that process during a transaction, before or after, so we get better at it. But it's happening. Okay. We are going to require this in our file starting August 1st. Okay. The settlement goes in effect on the 17th, but the 1st is when it's required in your file to close. So if you got anything you're signing that's going to close after that, make sure you're getting it signed. First of all. But second, I would start using it today. Even if we're not requiring it until the 1st, start using it, get used to it, work the kinks out, work your presentation out, find out where the hang-ups are of getting them to sign it so we can role play and get you past that. This has to be a comfortable thing for you to do. If you're comfortable asking for it, you're comfortable in your presentation, they'll sign it. They're going to have to sign it with anyone else that takes them out to show property, so you're not at a disadvantage. This is a good thing in the way of we're going to have these conversations. The buyers are going to understand your value and what you bring to the table, because it's not just showing homes, right? They're going to understand everything that you do and how you're going to benefit them, and they're going to understand how you're compensated. I think that's a good thing. How we're getting there, maybe it could have been done differently, but this is what we have, okay? All right, this went way long. I appreciate you guys staying. And then just know we'll have some more stuff coming up on these things. Watch for them. Please attend. Thanks a lot.